Hi guys! Today I'm going to be talking about analyzing Little House on the Prairie through the lens of the Great Depression. My thesis is, Little House on the Prairie is often historicized as a prairie adventure novel, but it is actually a Great Depression text. When reading the story through the lens of the Great Depression, pioneer life becomes romanticized, turning into a story of overcoming adversity and self-sufficiency. Now, what I mean here is basically, if you read the story now, when people are not struggling as much as they did during the Great Depression, pioneer life doesn't seem flattering. It doesn't seem like something we want to go back and do. But to people who are struggling during the Great Depression, it sounded amazing to them. It was very appealing, and the idea of having this little house was something they resonated with because many people were homeless during this time period. So they escaped and found shelter in this fictional fantasy that they created through Wilder's books. So I'll go more into depth about that in a little bit, but I wanted to clear up the timeline of Wilder's publications, just so you guys understand. She published a lot of books. Wilder was born in 1867. Little House on the Prairie takes place in 1874. Wilder was 7 years old. So she next attempted to publish her autobiography, Pioneer Girl, in the 1920s. I say attempted because she didn't actually publish it. Her publisher did not like the story as it was. It was bland to him, and he thought that many people were not going to read it or enjoy it based on how it was. So she spent the next decade changing it from first-person point of view to third-person point of view and breaking up the stories and just making it more appealing to children so that the book would thrive as a children's novel and not an autobiography. So she first published her book, Little House in the Big Woods, in 1932. Then she published Little House on the Prairie in 1935 when Wilder was 68, which is a very long time gap since in Little House on the Prairie, Laura was 7 years old and now she's 68, so she has to recall everything decades later. Now, the Little House series ended once Wilder got married at the age of 18 in 1885. Wilder waited 50 years to put her story out into the world. So what I'm mainly looking at here is that not the fact that Wilder waited, just she waited to publish it during the Great Depression. I'm not answering why she did so, I'm just saying how this affected her readers and how looking at this through the lens of the Great Depression changed the story. So, through researching this, I found a book written by John Miller called Laura Ingalls Wilder and Rose Wilder Lane, Authorship, Place, Time, and Culture. Now, the chapter I'm focusing on is called Place, which is what attracted Wilder and Lane to the Little Houses, which is the place that the story revolves around. Now, an interesting aspect that Miller said was that the Great Depression launched her series, which it did, and it bore a powerful witness to the significance of place and home in people's lives. He goes on to say the American people from the dark days of the Great Depression were searching for a safe harbor from privations, challenges, and terrors from the economic debacle. Now, what he's saying here is that many people were struggling, many people were homeless, as I've said before, and they wanted this safe harbor, which they found in the fictional world of Wilder's pioneer life. So, again, this goes back to them romanticizing it because they lack so much comfort and security, and they can find it in the book, so they see this pioneer life as something better than it actually is. Miller goes on to discuss the complex idea of place in fiction. He does so through analyzing Adora Welty's work. Now, she says, it is by nature of itself that fiction is all bound up in the local. The internal reason for that is surely that feelings are bound up in place. The human mind is a mass of associations more poetic than actual. Basically, what she's saying is that we associate all our emotions with this one place that we call home. Now, the second part, association more poetic than actual, basically, those associations that we make are not going to make sense to everybody, but to the poet, to ourselves, they're clear as day, and they make perfect sense, and this is why we associate all our emotions into this one place that we call home. And Wilder does so not in the terms where it's a physical location, but in the essence of family. because she moves from house to house a lot in her series. So the common theme in the story is not the place, but the metaphorical place that they make through their own family. And for many people struggling during the Great Depression, this helped because even though they're lacking a physical place, they have that metaphorical place because they still have their family, they're still together, and that's what's important to them. So this really resonated with a lot of people. And Lhotp goes on to say, the truth is, fiction depends for its life on place. Location is the crossroad of circumstance. Now, basically what she's saying here is that you can't have a strong fiction novel without having that strong essence of place, whether it be metaphorical or physical. You need a place for the reader to return to, for the reader to resonate with, which is what Wilder created through the essence of family and how so many people during the Great Depression resonated with this. So overall, I'm basically saying that pioneer life was viewed as something better than it actually was because many people who are reading this are struggling during the time of the Great Depression. So they fantasize this into a kind of vacation that they so crave and want, and it's something fictional. It's something not real. And even though it's based on Wilder's true life, it is still a work of fiction, and it is still something that's not within these people's grasp, but they can escape for it briefly through the pages of Wilder's story. So let me know what you guys think. Obviously, there's a lot more information that goes into this, but let me know, and I wish you guys all the best of luck on your research papers, and thank you so much for listening. Bye.